All right, this incident happened recently that I really got to talk about. I seen a video up with a young man, committing a robbery, and he walks into a restaurant. He's waving a gun around. He's got a mask over his face and all that. And then I seen a regular citizen or a patron in the restaurant, someone that was sitting there eating their meals and whatnot, ended up firing shots and killing the person who had everybody else hostage. But now they got an activist and an attorney, and they're asking for charges to be brought against the listen, man. Let me get into the story first, and then I'm gonna say what I gotta say. Community activists in Houston are calling for a restaurant.
Let's not pretend this is the first time we've seen something like this. And he's gonna get into the story. Let me say this piece. Let me let me interrupt you real quick. um, this isn't the first time. And when these activists, so-called activists, go in there and try to protect criminals, you know what we end up running into? Those same criminals goes back and terrorizes those same communities that they claim these activists are trying to help. I'm not saying everybody belongs in jail, but when you can see with your own two eyes, why are we defending the criminal? Why?
Patron who shot and killed a robbery suspect during a holdup to be arrested, saying that he went beyond self-defense despite many people calling him a hero. Customers were eating inside a local restaurant when 30-year-old Eric Eugene Washington entered, pointed a pistol at all of them, waving the gun around, demanding cash. As he gathered the cash, as the people were on the floor throwing the cash, an armed patron can be seen on surveillance video getting up from the booth he was sitting in and shooting his pistol at Washington multiple times. He was within the law when he fired the first initial shots, but active.
Again, let's say you're in a situation like that with your family. Maybe you're different. But if I have my kids there, I have my wife there, I have my mother there, my siblings there, my family, you're putting their life at risk. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. Come
Activist
on now.
Cornell X, in a news conference in front of the establishment, said, "But we believe he went from being a law abiding citizen to a lawbreaker." Why? Because Washington ultimately fell to the ground and died. The unidentified shooter has not been charged and has cooperated with the authorities. The man's attorney released a statement saying, in Texas, a shooting is justified in self defense of others and
Yes, of
defense of
self.
property.
Yes.
Y'all better learn something. The armed diner has been hailed a hero by many people, but local activists said he went beyond self defense when he fired several more times than he needed to neutralize a threat posted by Washington, who was holding a fake gun, by the way. You do not go and shoot someone over and over and over when they are no longer a threat, said Candace Matthews of the new Black Panther.
Really? Really? How do you know they're no longer a threat? Because they're on the ground? Because no one's ever shot somebody while they're on the ground, right? Never? That's unheard of, right? Come on now. Like I said, if I'm in that situation with my family and that gun is still in that person's hand and I could see that it's still in their vicinity, I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I'm not taking that chance with my family. I'm not taking that chance with my life. You're the one that started that situation. I'm forced to respond to you. That's just a fact. It is what it is at that point. I'm responding to something you started.
Nation. He was actually in the clear for a justified kill by shooting him like he did the first time when he was no longer a threat. The shooter fired a total of 9 shots as Washington was leaving the restaurant. Washington was shot as he was on the restaurant floor after he had been disarmed. I'm hoping the grand jury does something, because if they don't, the message that will be sent will be the Wild Wild West, says Quanell X. He should be charged with something,
What?
saying the man left the scene before authorities arrived and fired even after Washington was unarmed. He noted that he doesn't condone Washington's actions and that he deserves to be punished but not killed. He also said that the shooter dumped a drink on Washington as he was leaving the restaurant and threw the cup at him. At the least, it's called abuse of a corpse. It's a misdemeanor crime in Harris County. Washington's mother, Corinne Goodman, said that the shooter
If that happened, that has nothing to do with self-defense. If that happened, nothing to do with self-defense at all. Okay? But again, I must say, you start something, you can't complain about where it goes after you start it. It wasn't a real gun. How am I supposed to know that? Am I supposed to be looking down your barrel trying to see what color the inside of it is, or the tip of it, while you're pointing it at me? Is that what I'm supposed to do? I'm supposed to take more care and concern about your life than you do myself and my family. I feel like we're asking a lot. We're asking a lot of the people who are truly the victims in the situation, real gun or not. You still put those people in fear of their life.
should have stopped firing as soon as there was no longer a threat. If you had to kill him, I can deal with that. This is his mama talking now. If you had to kill him, I can deal with that. I can come to grips with that. He did something wrong. I understand that, she said. But for him to be shot 4 times in the back, leaving, and when he falls down, he shoots him 4 more times, he abused him. A grand jury is weighing whether the shooter will face charges or not. Okay, listen. As far as I'm concerned, after watching this video, shoot his ass. He should have shot him 4 more times. They say he ended up firing like 9 shots and he got hit all those times or whatever. Just the fact. See, I've been robbed before, right? I'm in Miami. I'm getting ready to go catch public transportation. I put 1 foot on the bus doorstep as the door opens, slides away. And I seen the bus driver look at me with big old buggy eyes. And the bus driver hits the gas. So I jumps off the bus. And I'm thinking this is a friend of mine that lives in the neighboring community where I caught this bus at. I feels a cold steel in the back of my head. I'm like, oh shit. So I turns around to say, Shane, stop playing. And I turned around and I looked into the barrel of a revolver. I don't know if it was a 357. It was pretty big and it was a revolver. And the first thing I started thinking, I turned back around immediately and I started thinking, oh my God, what if this person accidentally squeezes the trigger because he is so scared? So I decided I wasn't going to move. And this person is telling me, take your jewelry off, take all your shit off, take your shit out your pockets. And I got both hands in the air. And in the moment, all I could think about was being shot down on the side of the road like a dog. And I said, I'm not moving my hands from in the air because I don't want you to think that I'm going to do anything to you. I can feel you shaking with that gun in the back of my head because he was shaking really hard. I said, you take all my jewelry off if you want them. You go in my pockets and take out whatever you want to take out of my pocket. And I kept my hand in the air and he took all my jewelry off. I was wearing 2 chains. I was wearing like 4, 5, 6 rings. And he went into my pockets. He took out whatever he took out. And he walked away with his back turned completely to me. And I could have killed him if I had a gun. Because he never searched my waistline to see if I had a gun tucked. And he never searched. You know, sometimes you might carry a small gun down lower, like by your ankle in an ankle holster. He never searched all that. So if I had one, really, I could have killed him that day. And he never looked back while he...
And you see what I mean? When you're talking about situations like that where, oh, he didn't have to do that, he didn't have to go that far. Like I said, the drink stuff and shooting them and walking out, okay, fine. But again, the initial shooting, what's there to be an advocate about? These people who are claiming they're advocates for XYZ criminal, I guarantee you they've never been in a situation where their life was on the line. They've never been in a situation where somebody put, as he said, cold steel to the back of your head. They've never been in a situation like that. But here they are acting as if they know everything, and here they are trying to talk about they're the social justice warriors and they're trying to right some perceived wrong. Like, no. Again, this is the same individual that would have went right back to that same community and terrorized it. Why? Come
He
on
was
now.
walking away. I say that to say this. The feeling that I got after I was robbed in this manner,
Wish he had
I
a gun.
never forgot it. And that was over 20 years ago. And I never forgot it. I have never felt so violated and disrespected in my life. When this young man walked into the restaurant, I'm out at a restaurant trying to get some food to eat on a sunny afternoon. And in you come with your face masked up, waving a gun around. I'm scared. What if you just nervous and you squeeze the trigger and now there's a sad story for my family. I got 6 kids that won't have a daddy around. I'm their main breadwinner. And now my mama is going to have to cry and go plan a funeral for me and bury me and all this shit. So I'm thinking, watching this video and watching this young man operate in that restaurant, I think the patron who carried his legal firearm and used it was in the right. Not only was he in the right when he initially shot him, he was in the right the whole time. And I'm going to tell you why.
What about the
Because,
drink?
for one,
My man, what about the drink? Let me know what you think about the drink. The initial shooting, we there. We there. What about the drink pouring stuff? Let me hear some more.
he didn't know if that was a real gun. And for
Agreed.
2, even if when he fell, the gun that he was waving around slid across the floor and was away from him,
You don't know if he
he
has
does
another
not know if that person still has another gun in his waist that's loaded. And you don't know if any minute now he's going to roll over and start shooting people in the face from laying in that position on the floor. So
You're a
you
smart man.
shoot till you neutralize the threat. You shoot until you are sure in your mind that threat
Yep.
is no longer a threat. It's not for someone else who is watching the video to tell me from the outside
Thank
when
you.
I feel like it's no longer a threat.
Yeah, that saying hindsight is 2020, but hindsight doesn't account for the emotions of actually being in that situation. You can't talk about what people may do under certain situations if they're not in that situations, because the heart rate, the sweaty hands, the worrying about this person, the watching that corner to make sure there's nobody else coming. Did you think about that when you're thinking about this hindsight in 2020 and thinking about the best way you should have handled this? I doubt it. I strongly doubt that you were thinking about that. You were most likely only thinking about the fact that he was shot and he was already down on the ground. You don't know how many of these shooting videos I've watched where the shooter has an accomplice. Okay, you shoot this person and you need to swivel your head to make sure he doesn't have his buddy that's going to come and give him some backup. But you'd be wrong for saying, oh my gosh, I had to make sure he was out of the count, because how was I supposed to know there's nobody else? How was I supposed to know he didn't have you don't know. So you do what you feel like you need to do to make sure the situation is that much safer for yourself and your family and the people around you. Simple.
I'm the one that's in the situation. I have to tell you when I feel no longer threatened. You can't watch this video and tell this man when he feels no longer threatened.
Yep.
Obviously, he felt threatened. Now, of course, there's the black and white segment to this, right? And anything that has to do with black and white is always controversial. So, the black and white segment to this, it's an elderly white man, it seems, that took the life of a young black man, 30 years old. But here's the thing.
It's not what it's about.
He should
It's not what it's about. It's about wrong and right. Period. Wrong or right. Period.
have made better choices with his life. You put yourself in that position for that to be done to you. If you were off working a honest 9 to 5, flipping burgers at Burger King, stocking boxes, or running a cash register at Walmart, over there at Racetrack or Wawa somewhere, getting some money, some legal money, you would still be alive.
Yep.
But you went and gave your life away trying to do bad things, and then bad things happened to you. So
That's it right there. What more can I say about that? There's nothing else. He said it all. We basically had the same conversation. We just ping ponged off of each other the whole time. Guys, I appreciate you kicking in with me for this video. Tell the people around you you love them. And stop supporting criminals.